I want to feel good when I come to entertainment, when I come to pop culture, when I go and see a movie, when I go and see a TV show. I want to feel good when I come out of it. I want to think about things in it, and I want to think about, did I get my money's worth? And was I entertained? Was the person who was telling the story got his message across? The cultures that were they represented well, right? Um, Recently, I saw what was it? I just saw. Yeah, the creator, right? The creator. Every white dude, apart from one person, I think it was in there, was evil, bad, right? And everybody was going how amazing the creator was, right? And how cool it looked, and it was amazing. It looked cool. The robots, I love robots. I've just put out a comic book, finished a comic book called Robot Nation. That's how much I love robots, right? And the idea behind AI and stuff. I think of myself, as a futurist. I always question, what would the future be like if there were robots there? What is the end result of all this, right? So I love the idea and the concept, the artwork, the technology, everything behind the creator, except it was boring as hell. It was like one of the most boring movies around, with lots of bangs and smashes and all this and technology. The creator didn't pull me in. It made me hate humanity, which meant I'm human, so I hate myself, right? And then it made me hate white people, because all the white people, apart from a friend, right, is all evil people in it, are the villains, right? The female white person's a villain. White male is a villain. White leaders are villains, right? All the extra white people are villains. And it's like, and then also then we're not hard up anti-American. What's new, right? It's like you're telling the same crappy stories that every other thing is telling me on TV, on the everywhere right now. I thought, well, what would be really cool? What if it was Asia attacking America, and America is the one in love with AIs? Now that's an interesting story, because now you've turned it on the head. It's not the obvious telling of the story, because you, as a writer and as someone who spent 3 years of my life learning how to be a writer, and I have a degree, a bachelor's degree, right? As a writer, as a film writer, right? Which now I brought to, of course, to, I was writing even before I went to do my degree, for stage, right? I was writing for stage, doing feature presentations, acting in it, acting in other people's stage productions, and also, doing skits, like 5 minute, like writing 5 minute skits, and then writing a feature skit, right? My first feature, production was a sci-fi one, on a planet. So we had a stage, had to design all the costumes, had to design the production set, had to design the language of how people speak, and the lighting and everything. Boom, it was amazing. And I had a great cast, had a great, you know, uh, talent, you know, amateur talent behind it. But so I love sci-fi, and so I've always loved sci-fi since I came to New Zealand and watched Star Trek and all that. You could probably see there's somewhere over here is like a bunch of Star Trek thing, and there's a whole friggin' display unit here, right? Same size as this one here, full of Star Trek uh, ships and everything. So I love, so I was really looking forward to, the, let me find it here, the creator, right? So I thought that why then, after watching the creator, I feel like so hollow and empty, you know, after watching this very colorful, uh, you know, colorful, interesting looking show that they had spent so much money on. And let me just bring this up here, and we can have look at it in the background while we think. So you don't have to look at my face continuously. All right. So Here we go. Pop it up. Right. So it looks really cool. It's like, well, it's a very good looking, everything about it is really cool. But it's like it's an anti-American, anti-white film about the future, right? And it's just like it's like Gareth Edwards, right? Who's a director, decided, you know what? How about we make Vietnam a movie about Vietnam, but we put robots and AI into it, and we make Asians the victims, and people who love AI as the victims, and not worry about how you know the evil things are, the robots who are battling humanity for survival are not the bad guys. It's actually the humans are the bad guys who are trying to survive this new evolution that they actually created, right? I mean, I don't want um, always like anti AI, um, anti AI, stories. I don't want anti robot stories because I love nuances, right? I've got a story coming as I'm writing for the second volume of Robot Nation, where it's more about how what how good that could be for us, humanity. And like you look at the idea behind one of my favorite shows, like anime, manga, whatever movie, is Ghost in the Shell, right? And the idea behind it, you could like live forever if your brain is scanned and is placed inside a robot. But then the question is, do you want to live forever? How miserable could it be if you could live forever? Like could because then you could do whatever and nothing matters. What makes our life, what makes humanity exciting is that there's a limit to our existence. That so when you get shown stuff that is like where, let me find something here. We stop on this really cool looking, you know uh so yeah, so when you, and I lost my train of thought, apologies for that. But so I love technology. I'm someone who enjoys technical stuff. Like, I mean, I appreciate it. Um I've I think it's just my brain, the way I work, right? I like pulling things apart when I was a kid. So I was appalled about everything. How does this work? How does that work? But now I get the amazing job of writing speculative fiction. You get to write about what the future could hold for us as humanity. We talk about how I could save so much time if I put all my, you know, thousands of pages of stories and novels and scripts and ideas into an AI program, and I could say, write a story with this plot line, right? Write a story where this happens, this happens, this happens, and at the end this happens, and then in the middle this happens, and these are the characters. And knowing the AI, knowing my nuances, my style of writing, the way I like to my characters behave, or or how I like to let my characters write themselves. A lot of times I don't guide my characters. Like, I kind of like an outline, but if I have a certain character, I don't try to bound it into like, this is the message I want you to tell. I just let it do its thing. I know, like, if you're not a writer, you might not understand that part of things, but there is this thing when you sit down to write, you go, all right, so James is going to do this. Now let James run for it. All right. So you put James in a situation, and James will talk to Maria. Maria will say this. James will go, what is James's response? Not what is my response to that? What would James, as a 40-year-old or 30-year-old guy who was trying to protect Maria, would say in this instance? Is he going to go, it's all right, babe, I'm here, I'm a man, I'll sort it out. Or he's going to say, hun, you know, I understand where we are, what the situation is, but you got to listen to me, and this is going to happen. I don't place myself inside that character. I let the character do its thing. And this is the cool thing about being a writer, which is why I get upset when I feel cheated by race swapping. I feel that race swapping is cheating to advance a ethnicity over another ethnicity without actually giving me any reason why, right? So when you get something like, sorry to hop on, but if you get something like a Century with his own nuances, his own mental health issues, his own, there's so much to the Century, and how, the things, and of course his mentor and so on, as to why that character is where that character was at the time that character was created. So it's got all that little things that happens, right? Like, why was he created in the 2000s at that time and became so popular that it had his own figure, right? And so, but why don't we get, characters who are already ethnic, who are already like Forge, right? One of my favorite all-time X-Men characters, a native Indian, right? Why isn't he being brought into the X-Men yet, right? Because I reckon they're going to bring in some other character that's already established that is white, and they'll call him Forge, because that's the only way. That's the only way they can do things now, rather than actually have Forge be Forge as a Native American, as the guy who created Cerebro, the computer, right? The X-Men computer, the big, huge, the mutant finding thing, and their technology. Why don't we have Forge already here, right? They talk about the Cerebro and all this thing, but they've never brought him in, even as a little side character. It's like, well, this is him. Why not? Because the only way they see that he would mean anything is he's somebody else. But he'll be an Indian, but playing another role, right? Because that's a shortcut. That's the cheat that they have now. Why can't we have Forge as an amazing character right now coming into X-Men? Because that would take too much thinking for these Hollywood types to understand that people actually want that. We want authenticity when it comes to storytelling.